like this. So good evening everyone. So how was test? बोलो कुछ. कितने लिखा? 4 लिखा, 3 लिखा. Fourth one you didn't know. आपने वो लिखा? नहीं लिखा. क्यों? SC objectives you cannot guess. नहीं याद तो नहीं, but can't you guess? क्यों नहीं किया? बाकी कितना आंसर किया? How much? You answered? You haven't attempted anything. You? Which one you left? Fourth one. You attempted fourth one. Very good. So, any difference from yesterday? Did you use anything of keywords? Which keywords use किया? बोलो. Points generate करने. Keywords पूछ रहा है? Not from them. Anything from your mind you used in paper? Say something if you have. It's okay enough. इतना ढूंढ के नहीं देना है. रहने दो. So let's start the discussion. First, where is the paper? Keyword paper. You haven't brought. So these are three new keywords from yesterday's and today's newspaper. Have you seen this? Any of these? Globalization सुना है, पहले सुना है. ये आज के न्यूज़पेपर में है, strategy of friendshoring. Nobody read today's editorial. You have some work related to it now? Haven't read? Different. This is taken from today's Hindu editorial. Oh. ऐसा होता है ना, editorial page इधर big editorial will come, one small will come here. From this article it is coming. You should follow some news which is relevant to talks we are doing in the class. So what is it? Trade as geopolitical weapon. That is obvious. You will all know. Where we can use this? You could have used in today's paper. India, China. Anything Chinese strategy you need to explain, you could use this keyword. To the list of paper I already gave you, add these things. What is this? Strategy of friendshoring. What is this? Yellen says US and its allies should use friendshoring to give supply chain a boost. Can you guess what is friendshoring from this news heading? Countries. Wait, I will give you opportunity. Those countries at the seashore should do the economics or trade. Or what are you saying?
Which are friendly with US at present time and having a good seashore so that with have maritime so they should develop them, help or develop them we are part of the supply chain.
Countries who are friends with US should do the supply chain, do the trade. Any other suggestion? This is almost the correct answer. So what US is saying, ally countries, something like India, something like Japan, Australia, we see in Quad, these countries should align the supply chain in their benefit. Like if US has to procure something, usually where it procure from? China. So the idea is you should give more importance to ally countries, even though something strategic element is coming into trade. This in one way it can be seen as against what? Against what? Not Indo-Russia, against the idea of globalization. Globalization is economic should be the basics of doing trade. You should not come up with some other agenda into it. But friendshoring, strategy of friendshoring, this is something which works against globalization. What is this one? Localization? Globalization plus localization. Something like you can see Domino's. The same pizza is not delivered in India and USA. When it comes to India, it makes some changes. Some veg amount will increase. Yeah, KFC, veg. KFC is also making something veg. So some local elements are coming into global products. Even though global marketing is going on, local elements are coming into it. So that is globalization. Which one? Friendshoring? What do you want? What it is? Exactly, US want to get some deals. What is the criteria to get the deal? Suppose you want to buy something, US want to buy something. What is the criteria? You go and buy from a cheapest price point you are getting it. That is, economy is the only line of thought which you are engaging at, looking at. Now friendshoring says that what is the risk in it? What is the risk in doing this strategy? Suppose you are getting everything cheap from China. Over the years, it is getting, you are developing a dependence with China. And China, if I'm not specifically saying China, if that country is not a trustable ally or trustable country, then it can work against you. So to avoid that, even though it is not the cheapest price you are getting, the ally countries should come together and do the trade or influence the trade. That strategy in general we call friendshoring. So US and India should do this. That is what the Yellen is some minister, like secretary in Biden administration. So she is saying India and US should do more of this friendshoring. The idea is this is also a part of containment of China strategy, broader strategy. Let's move ahead. So these are 4 questions. If you're watching online and haven't gone through, you can pause the video and just see this. This question, most are saying this was not attempted. This was tough. Yeah, it is. Actually, the question came in 2018. That year, India joined the agreement. So that was very related to that year current affairs question. So you don't remember it today, it's not a crime, it's okay. Anything else? Any other issues, major issues? Any other question? SEO is always today also in news. You shouldn't say that you don't know about SEO. Baki 2 things also today are almost relevant today also. Yes. We will see this. That is within the question, we will see when discussing that question. Move ahead. So first question, all game what we done yesterday, we are going to do the same thing. Tell me what is different parts of this question, answer which you are going to make. What significance, what is the significance of Indo-US defense deals over Russian defense, Indo-Russian defense deals? Discuss with reference to the stability in the Indo-Pacific. So what are you going to do? How is significance of Indo-US deal you will write first? Significance of Indo-US deals. What is second part? Significance of Indo-Russia. What is the need for that?
Firstly, I better let's say what is the significance of India-Russia deal?
Hmm.
How it is less significant in the US? How US
Hmm.
India deal is
How US deal is more significant than Russia deal. Okay, next part. Stability in Indo-Pacific. Anything else? Any other suggestion? Way forward, if you want, you can add also. So at least 3-4 dimensions you can see. Just follow the same rule what we have followed yesterday. Let's see how we can generate points. So what introduction you have given? Anyone used any keywords in introduction? What is context of this question? In this definition introduction, you cannot give a definition. There is nothing to define. So what we can do, what is context of this question? Why this question is coming? Actually, this is also a current affairs question when it was asked. It was asked in 2020. What is significance? Major development. S-400 became very significant later years. This time India signed the BECA agreement with USA. So when a major deal is signed, a military deal is signed with USA, then the news and editorial, all this was in news during that time. But this year when you are writing mains, you will write mostly with reference to this. But when we are discussing the answer today or writing answer after 2 years, we are not going to, we might even not remember this. It is okay. You don't need to focus too much on this. So what introduction you have given? Idea is you are contextualizing, like why Indo-US significance is coming because of containment of China. That is why the question is coming. That is why all these idea debates are going on, containment of China. So that is, or counterbalancing China. So that we use in the introduction. Clear? If de facto ally. Somebody have gone through the last keyword given in that sheet is de facto ally. What it means? Something like all-weather ally. You can trustable ally simply. The point what I am showing is try to learn and use some keywords. It looks like a very expert answer. If you can reproduce at least 2-3 keywords in the answers. After that, if required, you can see what are major India-US defense deals which is going on. Which all deals India is signed, foundation agreement is there. You don't need to write 4-5. At least 3 you can remember. At least Quad you can remember very easily. 2+2 there is always in use. You can remember. Or major defense partner, that is something which is something at least 3 points you show in a diagram. These are the major deals which are going on and you should focus on it. If you are making notes, you should make everything. But in real exam condition, at least 2-3 will suffice. And this is also major, not major part of the question, not asked. That's why we are representing it is in a diagram form or some other form which don't take too much of space or don't take too much of time. Okay, let's move ahead. So what we want to analyze, significance of Indo-US over Indo-Russia. So actually discuss with reference to stability of Indo-Pacific. How will you inculcate this into the answer? You are giving separate section to it, that is very much okay. But the idea is whatever point you are writing here or whatever point you are writing in this answer, it should have tried to make some references to the Indo-Pacific. In every point may not be possible, but 10 point likh raha hai, at least 7 point should be somewhere linked to, try to link it with happening or countries in the Indo-Pacific. Okay. So whenever I told yesterday also, significance we are discussing, we can discuss it from stakeholders perspective. Who are stakeholders here? India is the Conore. US is the, if you can see Russia greater than US, that can be also part of it. Then Indo-Pacific can be also part of it. So what is significance of Indo-US defense deals from all these perspectives you can think of? At least few dimensions from India perspective. What it can be? Counterbalancing China. Blue water policy, what it is? Having navy that is powerful, capable, or doing its own work. It is right. When you explain this, you should write something related to Indo-Pacific. What you will like? Write Malacca Strait, or some examples, or something which is related to Indo-Pacific. You should substantiate the point. What is second point? Regional security vision. What is India's regional security vision? Here also, when you are writing it, what is, you should connect it with net security provider idea. India does want supporting country to do all this in the Indo-Pacific. India cannot counter China. India cannot directly interfere in the matters happening in the Indo-Pacific. So it is very significant. India should have a very strong supporting nations like US or Japan, Australia, all these countries in its ambit. Military modernization. What is it? Say something. Military modernization. In almost every answer related to Indian military, Indian army, this should be one of your major points. Military modernization. We are doing this S-400. Why we are buying? We need to upgrade our military. Technology transfers we are doing with Russia, with all other countries, France, Rafale deal. The basic idea of all this is you need to upgrade the military. What is it? Democratic values, future expansion, all these points you can substantiate with whatever discussion we already had. Let's go ahead. At least 4 or 5 points from India perspective you can generate, you should generate. Second, with reference to US, what is significance? What US today is fighting for? Containment of China is there. Apart from that, what it is fighting for? Minerals is totally different game. What US really is fighting is Afghanistan is gone. They withdrawn from Afghanistan, and how they withdrawn? In a haphazard way and giving the country to Taliban, whom they came fighting, and they given the country to Taliban and they left after 20 years. So somewhere US is losing hold, not just in continental Asia, in everywhere. You can see this in South China Sea. When China told we will not follow any orders of UN convention, Sea Convention, there was no much hard response from USA. All what it is doing is sending the submarines, sending some ships to the Indo-Pacific. Beyond that, to enforce the law or enforce the order, there was no engagement from US. And so many small countries from in Indo-Pacific region, ASEAN countries, they are shifting towards Chinese, especially due to this BRI is also coming. Huge investment opportunities is China putting before them. So due to all these developments, US is losing hold in the region. And one idea US keenly want is they want to regain their lost hold. This is very important to keep its hegemony or unipolar US. That's the world vision of US. To keep that intact, they need to get more control or more access to Indo-Pacific. Counter China, you will write market potential, but you can write examples in it. Defense market itself is a very huge industry. India is one of biggest, right? Recently India became second now. Who is first? Saudi Arabia, I guess. So India is itself a very huge defense market, and some country who is propounding the free market, all this, how can they leave Indian market, defense market? And there is Indian interest also. What is Indian interest? Recently we have opened the manufacturing FDI in defense segment. So India also wanted defense investment to come to India. So this is something like benefiting to both countries. What else you will write? Significant to stability of Indo-Pacific. Vision, it's but whenever Indo-Pacific is coming, you should include some point like this: free, open and inclusive Indo-Pacific. That is a vision which India is upholding. What is this? Alternative security partner. What does it mean?
The countries which are there in the Pacific, the small countries, are basically getting totally dependent on China.
Yes. So for security purposes, we need a country that is at least give an option to against China. China, what it is providing, BRI, whatever investment opportunities China is putting forward, we at least need some countries who can counter there is one alternative option also. So that we can develop with Indo-US defense deals or agreements. And a step towards multipolar world order. Like this is also vision in Indo-Pacific. The idea is to develop a multipolar world order. This is against even US vision. What is US world vision? Unipolar world vision or hegemonic US hegemonic world vision. So this is, even though we say that India and US are coming together, India and US are strategically aligning together, still there is a differences in world vision between India and US itself. Move ahead. Then we can write from limitations of Indo-Russia defense deals. This is why the significance of Indo-US is coming into picture. What you can write? Role of Russia is mainly come in continental aspects. Whatever the fight is going on in Indo-Pacific is between US and China. Hardly any Russian ship is coming into fight or conflict. So Russian importance even in Ukraine war, what we discussed? One reason why India was not voting against Russia was India need an ally in the continental Asia policy. But that is totally inapplicable to Indo-Pacific. Indo-Pacific, Russia is not a major player compared to Russia, China and USA. What this is? Rising Russia, China, Pakistan axis. This axis is perceived to be against Indian interest. So if we have 85% dependence on Russian weapons, that have some imbalances within it. What is this? Western sanctions. That is afterward of what? Ukraine crisis. Example, what you will cite? In this example, Western sanctions. S-400, all this you can cite. Now even this is also related to Ukraine crisis. Due to that, even S-400 delivery is getting delayed. Promised delivery dates are being crossed, and due to supply chain disruptions, all this is going indefinitely. Now this is a counter perspective to it. So far we are saying what is important is Indo-US. So you can give a counter perspective this to question also, that is Indo-Russia is not completely irrelevant. But again saying this should not be 5 points is enough. If there you are writing 10 points or 12 points, in this section 4-5 points will suffice. Don't give too much argument into it. What it can be: high defense equipment dependence. You can cite the data 85%. There are other data also, like 68% was there 2014 to 18. 4-year data is being launched. Military modernization, Russian system is very important to India. S400 we are discussing too much. What are other system which you can think of? What are other Indo-Russian major defense trade or defense collaborations? वो तो है, rifles है, or important, something which we study for prelims every year. Missile, some missile. Which missile? BrahMos. Every time you are using this S400, everyone will get bored. So at least learn something else. What you can or write? INS Vikramaditya. What is it? Submarine. All this technology transfer is also coming from Russia. At least remember 2-3, because S400 is something you will anyway write in the exam. Another factor is Russian partnership is something which has stood the time. From 1971, when was India signing friendship treaty with? 1971 with Russia. So from 71 to so far, there is no major conflict between Russia. So this is something which a partnership which stood the test of time. India's continental plans we already discussed. Countering Russia-China axis. This is also a part of India's plan. What happened? Fan. Okay, move ahead. Conclusion, what you will write? Okay. So in conclusion, what you can write? What is this post-Cold War reality? Fall of USSR. What was India-US issues before this? What was Inter-US stance before this? Before Cold War? Before end of Cold War, I mean, before 1990s, what was Indo-US stance? Pakistan was more aligned with US. And where was India? India was ideological partner with USSR. We are also following the socialist to some extent, mixed economy. All these ideas are a 5-year plan. Where it came from? It came from Russia. In US also we are having some partnerships. What was major partnership with US before this? Food grains. What is food revolution? Grain revolution. What is it? Green revolution. Green revolution technology support, all this came from USA. It is not like India totally don't have any US contact, but whatever relation we have with US, there were conflicts going on. But if we see Russia, we are having more of a very close ties. But post-Cold War, things changed. Strategically, India is going towards USA. USSR already disintegrated. Socialism, not that much of a powerful ideology today compared to that time. Okay. So we'll see this answer. Who sees this? US now. So everyone read this answer, at least see this answer and see what all mistakes you can find out in this. What introduction he has given? India is a developing country to which security and sovereignty is the topmost priority. It needs to consolidate powers both in finance and equipment for these various deals with the nations. Here you can cut down this. Try to write in how much? 3 lines. Try to cut off it in 3 lines at least. 3 में बहुत ज़्यादा है and इसमें कुछ कीवर्ड नहीं है. You have to work on it. ऐसे नहीं आएगा कीवर्ड, ऊपर से नहीं आएगा ना. What is first part he has written? Significance of Indo-US defensive over Indo-Russian defensive. Directly taken from question. Good. What anything else you can notice? Tell me. Read this answer, not yours. Let's see how difficult it is to read some other's answer. Your answer, somebody, a 60-year-old person will be checking. So have some consideration. Do all the decoration. Underlining किया है, सही है. US as a developed nation still put lots of condition. You studied English, know so much of English, you still need to cut down this. At least try to write 1 point in 2 lines. This is so much of full sentence likh raha hai. Here also, lack of clarity over. US is developed still put lots of condition for any. What idea you are saying in this? Huh? Heading कुछ और दिया है and point is something else. This is not acceptable. It is okay if you lack content. It is okay if you are making some keyword नहीं लिख रहा है. That is acceptable. It's not. It's okay. But ये क्या लिखा है? Something given as heading and point come in another direction. Anybody else is making this mistake? Take a note of. ऐसे नहीं होना चाहिए. वो भी first point. At least last point लिख रहा है, then I can at least support you. इतना तो लिखा है. ये मैं first पढ़ा, मुझे ये पढ़ने का interest चला गया. Even if you are doing like this, don't do it in the first point. Do it in the end. Good. You remember these agreements name at least. कौन का सा यही है नहीं? ठीक है ठीक है. Again. What is second part? With reference to stability in the Indo-Pacific region. Okay. So in this whole answer, Indo-Pacific is not coming. Question when it is saying discuss with reference to Indo-Pacific, that doesn't mean that you need to put a separate paragraph of it. In every argument, you need to try some point, some relation to Indo-Pacific. Quad लिखा है, expansionism of China. Checkbook diplomacy. Good use of keywords. Still points are less. You need to work on it. Conclusion नहीं लिखा है. क्यों नहीं लिखा? Get the practice. इतना space बचा है. You lack some points. So in that case, you should not miss conclusion. बहुत ज़्यादा points है, space नहीं है, 10 marker है, it's okay. Conclusion leave out it. But this space you have space also, and points are less, so you should do that. This here you are writing at least only 2 lines. You should limit number of lines you are writing on all this. Anything else you can point out? Tell me. Points में और आना है. हम कितना सब parts divide किया. You should think from that sub parts. If you can make sub parts, it become very easy. Think from perspective of India. Think from perspective of US. Think from perspective of Indo-Pacific. So वो आर्ट आपको लर्न करना ही है, नहीं तो पॉइंट नहीं मिलेगा. एक ही डायमेंशन में 10 पॉइंट याद करना भी वेरी डिफिकल्ट है. It's not feasible. Anything else? Yeah, we will not put too much time into it. So come to second question. What is it? Yeah, current affairs. Satyam Kumar Pal, BrahMos, MiG-22. Yeah, correct. So what this question is? China is using its economic relations and positive trade surplus as a tool to develop potential military power status in Asia. In light of this statement, discuss its impact on India as her neighbor. So tell me parts first. Clearly बोलो, I cannot. How economic is used for developing the military status? ये बोल रहे ना? That is the statement you are explaining first. Or how China has trade surplus? How China has so much trade surplus? कितना लिखा? How much? 2 lines? 2 lines is acceptable, but इस पे 5 points बनाया, then it is something not acceptable. Introduction में लिख सकता है, no issues. But ये नहीं होना है China cute how China made the trade surplus. Why trade surplus? What it does? How does it impact? The problem is your idea. I'm not questioning. Good, very good. Problem is question is asking about impact on India. So if 2 page you are writing, 1.5 page should be this. Half page में ये सब आ रहा है, then it is acceptable. But ये नहीं होना चाहिए. Economic part should take 1 page of it. Your answer. ठीक है? So और next part क्या आएगा? Impact on India. चले? और कुछ पार्ट आ सकता है? Way forward you can include. So in this kind of question you can start with data. So far we haven't started any question with data. Little difficult in IR to start with data, but if you can remember, that is very good. Yeah, good. Trade surplus because more export by China due to its cheap products. Not too much wrong, but you cannot write this in exam. Way forward, correct. So here, global firepower review. China is 3 out of 1/3 out of 142 countries. What you will do if you don't remember exactly these numbers or these things? What you can do? At least इतना remember करना है. Highest spender कौन है? Military spending. Highest who spends? Any other suggestion? Come on यार, US is spending way high than ऐसे कुछ data है. If you take top 10 highest spenders, 9 second to 10, ये दो सबको मिलाओ, still it is not reaching US. US is way too high spending than any other country. Second coming is Russia, then China. Oh, spending it comes China second maybe. So at least China, US, Russia, these people should occupy top 3 position. So what you can do? China is highest spender, top 3 it comes in, or top second it is coming in military expenditure. All these things you can, if you don't remember the exact number or firepower review report ka naam, you can juggle with these ideas. Okay. So there is a supporting statement also given. Even though China is having a lot of opaque system. US is spending something, at least some data is coming out. But China's lot of military program are still hidden, or there is no clarity on how much nuclear stockpile China is having. So even though it is third, who knows exactly? Yeah. Trade surplus perspective, you want to start the answer. Yes, yes, yes. No issues, no issues. Thing is, this is not an economy answer. It should not get exaggerated. If you are writing from trade surplus perspective, you can start the answer, no issues. 3 decades, China is having accelerated growth, export oriented growth. All this export oriented system is working. That's why the trade surplus is coming. All this you can write, but it should be only in the introduction or 2-3 lines only. So what is first part of our answer? How China is using its economic trade surplus to develop the military power status. What you can write in this? Military spending. Even economy grow karega, then military spend will come. Otherwise, where the money comes from? What is this? Tell me this. These two numbers. Let me check you how much preparation you have done. What is it? 229 billion versus 49 billion. China's, what is China's? Military expenditure. This is China's military expenditure. Yeah, this is India's. This is China's and this is India's. Any other suggestion? US versus China. This is US and this is China. Any other? It's okay to be wrong, yeah. We are not going to cut marks for that. Thing is, 229 billion is China's military expenditure, 49 is India's military expenditure. See how much difference even India and China, how this difference is coming from, where it is coming from. China's economy is 5 times bigger than Indian economy. That's why they are able to fund this. So without economic development, dreaming about a world power status or global power status, that is anyway not going to happen. What else you can write? How else China is using its military economy to have a military status? Complex interdependence. What is this APIs? Active pharmaceutical ingredients. What it used for? Developing medicine. And India is importing how much? Most of it is coming from China itself. And this is something, if they block it, what will happen to generic market in India or generic exports from India? So something India need to, anything else you can think of, something like this, where China is having absolute dominance? Machine, electrical machineries, rare earth elements, rare earth elements. This is something, question is also came in UPSC 1 year, GS3 mein. Thing is, China, how much they are having? 97%, something like that is having absolute control. Even they use this power to subdue which industry? Japan's electronic industry, they use this control and somehow hurt the industry. So when a country is exporting 97%, that is something which is too high to afford. And that country is China, which don't value any global rules and all. What else? Strategic base. What you can write as example? String of pearls. What is string of pearls? At least 2-3 ports you tell me. 2-3 ports you tell me. Hambantota, Gawadar, all these. What is India's counter strategy to this? Garland of diamonds, something like that. And which countries India are engaging with that? Which country India is trying to engage with this strategy? No, garland of that thing is for Indian Ocean region also. Diamond necklace, what it is, that strategy, diamond necklace strategy. That is countering the pearls. Russia, Indian ocean influence is itself being countered. India is engaging with Bangladesh. India is engaging with Singapore, all these countries. Global infrastructure projects. BRI, how you can write this here? BRI fund come from economic might of China. Trade surplus is funding BRI. Why India is not joining BRI? So sovereignty concern, or yeah, Indian position is that BRI is not just a economic, there is strategic element, underlying strategic element which China is not transparent about. So BRI is also having some military aspects, or military status is behind the idea of BRI also. What else? Militarization of emerging technologies. Space militarization, what example you can give? Anti-satellite test. When China conducted it? In 2009, 2007, something during that time China conducted it. When India did it? Anyone can? Mission Shakti. Mission Shakti was India's. When India did it? There was huge controversy regarding it. What was controversy? (2019). What was controversy? Prime Minister came up and during elections was upcoming. So all this drama was going on. Anyway, India also did this, but militarization of technology is also part of China's. What else? Now we are coming into key part of the question. This is what is asked. So if you are writing 2 pages, these all parts should not be taking one whole page. You should try to limit this point as much as possible. Getting? Because key part is impact on India. That is what is asked. This is where you are going to, major part of your mark is coming. These are all decorations. So here this should be occupy the most part of your answer. Getting? ये mistake नहीं होना है. Even if you note too much of points in the other section, trade aspect में सब कुछ पता है, but try to limit it. क्या लिखा है इधर? How it impact India? Either also you can think from Chinese policy or Chinese strategy perspective. After that, India strategy perspective. Try to divide. किधर भी stakeholders apply कर सकता है, apply करो. Because if you take this heading and try to generate points, I'm saying it's very difficult in exam condition. You still generate 5 points. I'm not saying you cannot do this, but quality points आना है. Try to have some sub parts or some divisions or sub thinkings. So think from different perspective. What is this growing power asymmetry? China and India difference is growing. If you take how much is Chinese economy in 1990 and India, we are almost in a similar phase. And after 3 decades, China is 5 times bigger than India. This is something very significant. Now China perspective, what all you can see? Militarization of borders. That is we are observing in Ladakh, Doklam, all these areas. And what this guy has, Shiv Shankar Menon, what he is saying? Border is not the real issue. It is just a lever to regulate the temperature in relations. We discussed yesterday salami slicing strategy. So China is having so much of plans in doing all this. And people criticize India. China is coming with doctrines like wolf warrior, this, that. What India is doing, India still failed to establish a credible doctrine against Chinese all these ambitions. It is recently India getting the momentum in some direction. So far, so much scholars criticize India for not establishing a credible strategy against China. What is this? Next point. Pakistan as an instrument against India. What China is doing? Technologies are giving. The helicopters are giving. CPEC also. You can write, no issues. Core ideas, the one good example is given. After Article 370 abrogation, all this issue was going on. China was very prominent in giving more international attention to the issue. Some close meeting of Security Council was conducted by Indonesia, I think, who was the head of the UNSC. Very good example. Masood Azhar global terrorist status was there and China was blocking it. What else? China is making inroads into neighborhood. So much examples are given. Every country you can cite. What they are doing with Bangladesh? They are the largest arms supplier to Bangladesh, China. What they are doing with Sri Lanka? You already know, debt trap diplomacy. Trans-Himalayan multi-dimensional connectivity network. What is it? Between China and Nepal. Economic contacts will grow. 70% of debt of Maldives is owned by China. So you can foresee next debt trap diplomacy. If we are seeing, there is a good chance Maldives can go into the same cycle unless something is not done. Okay, so much examples you can cite. Every country you can take. I'm giving so much because you can write at least one or two in the real exam is enough. What else? India perspective, what you will write? India, Russia. India, Russia, yeah, obviously. You can write, very good. So from cooperation and competition, we are moving into counter and containment. This is also a keyword you should have used. Necklace of diamond strategy. This was what we were discussing later. Geostrategic shift towards US. Example, you can cite Quad. I don't think we need any further discussion on most of these points. Threat to all weather into Russia. What all other countries you can bring into it? Maldives, small countries, India, Nepal you can cite. India, Nepal, what is happening? India, all goodwill is being destroyed. What are economic implications? Banning of apps, even though it is totally economic matter or we say it is an economic matter, there is strategic aspect to it. Other apps are also creating problem, gambling like apps are there in India. We are not banning those, we are specifically banning some apps that is from China. There is some strategic interest in behind this also. Any other points you can think of? You are written in paper. Neighborhood first policy, it will be having challenges. Very good, very good. India hydropower developments all are getting halted. Chinese spies, okay. So what you are trying to say? Internal disturbances in India. Very good. Move ahead. So how should India handle China? Don't look too much into both. We have three perspectives. Idealist way of handling China, pragmatic way, realistic way. What is idealist way of handling China? Narrow vision. What is narrow vision? What is that narrow vision? Panchil, very good. Asian solidarity. Hindi Chini bye bye. Who is proponent of this? Jawaharlal Nehru. And it was very good idea but fall down in 1962. Now what is realistic way of handling China or perceiving China? China and India cannot be bye-bye. We are culturally different, our expectations are different, and China is having a worldview of unipolar or middle kingdom complex. There is keyword in your list I have given. So China is a country who still holds so much value to the middle kingdom complex, and with that a country, how can you be bye-bye? So realistic aspect is China is going to be an enemy of India, and you should see China like that. Who is proponent of this? Who is proponent of realistic view of China? Here we told Jawaharlal Nehru. Similarly, who is this? Vajpayee. Jashwant Fadnavis. George Fernandez. Okay. Or else there is more bigger names here. Come on. Who's greatest opponent of China policy of Jawaharlal Nehru? Sardar Patel. There are, if you search internet, you will get a letter written by Sardar Patel to Jawaharlal Nehru when it was written 1948 or something. And that letter was clearly explaining whatever policy India is taking with respect to Tibet. When China occupied Tibet, India was muted. And Sardar Patel was foreseeing this. Whatever strategy India adopt with Tibet is going to be very important for India-China relations. And ye bye-bye nahi hai. We need to maintain Tibet as a buffer state. India need to, like British, when British was there, British was very active with this buffer state. They want some buffer state between which countries? Afghanistan in this area to counter the Russian influence. So India need buffer state Tibet as buffer state between India and China. This was a letter written by Sardar Patel in 1940 something, 48 or 49 or something. And Jawaharlal Nehru was against that idea. He was more of towards idealist aspects. And 1962, he got the real medicine. Whatever. What is pragmatic stance of handling China? The idea is we are going to have differences. Border dispute, we cannot engage with China by saying that when border dispute is settled, then we will have close engagements. That is not feasible. So pragmatic view is you should compartmentalize. That is what we are trying to engage for last 10 years or 20 years. We will deal everything separately. Border issue we will talk separately, economic side we will talk separately. Clear? Go ahead. So in the answer, you don't need to write all this pragmatic or realistic, idealistic, all this. Pragmatic you can take and extrapolate on it, but don't need to go to 1960s events. That is just for understanding. Now you can increase a way forward. Future will be antagonistic cooperation. There is no way India and China will have all the issues resolved between them. But there is no way India and China can completely non-cooperate stance be laissed. Somewhere there should be cooperation. Let me read some comments. Impact on India. Due to China's financing its debt policy, it got something more like taking ports for lease, Ambandota. Very good, very good. Guy knows so much things. Both are nuclear powered countries. Very good. What is IG? Pragmatic approach. Both are members of SCO. So how should India handle China? India needs proactive. India needs some strategy, long-term strategy. China is making strategy for centuries. Next 2 centuries they are making strategy. At least India should have a vision for long-term vision in how it should handle China. What is low-key diplomacy? We will not go openly fight with them. And even though differences is there, keep it aside and try to get the things done. Compartmentalization of issues, I already told you. What is smart balancing? Instead of seeing totally from the difference, China is 5 times economy, India is 5 times less, that doesn't mean India is totally insignificant. Even if China is having so much military strength, if a real war happens between India and China, India have enough firepower to have a complete destruction. So it's not like somebody is so big, somebody is so less, this is going to be the end of the world. So India need to look beyond these differentials. Economic dependence in critical sectors like rare earth, APIs. इतना dependence नहीं होना चाहिए. Something should have been done to get away with this. Strengthening counterbalancing agenda. Quad strengthen करना है. Militarization of Quad should happen. Revisit regional presence. Neighborhood first. Net security provider. All this you can write. Go ahead. What you will write in conclusion? This again something which is said by foreign minister. This is a scholar. You have seen the website ORF? Anyone gone through it? Something like Observer Research Foundation. You should go through it. It is very good for international relations. Only very few websites which you can totally rely on, and ORF is one of them. If one article you are getting on Indo-Russia relations, something like it will have all the points for your exam. Indo-Russia, you don't have to do it from anything else. Not historical part, recent developments, everything will be covered. So very detailed articles which will come in it. And major articles are written by Harsh V. Pant. He also writes in newspapers also. So whenever you see his name, he is writing something in Indian Express or some newspapers, compulsorily read it. One other important name is C. Rajamohan. He constantly writes. Which newspaper? Indian Express. So if he is writing something, it is important to our exam. Don't miss those editorials. Yes. They are having different perspectives. I'm saying you should read it. Don't replicate their ideology too much. That we will have issues. Like when you are reading editorials, most people who write the editorial will have extreme stance. Some people will say India should get away all the cash. Everything should be digital. And they will give so many arguments to that. It doesn't mean that in answer you have to write that. If you take that extreme stance, you are blind to other sections. In exam, you should not show that, even if you believe that. So read means don't follow their everything what they say. Okay. And if something major is coming, you should note down it, get into your notes, and you can obviously use in conclusion or anywhere. He is writing again. Already one book is there now. He'll don't get time around. He's too busy running to every country. He already written one book, I guess. Don't know. Something how India see the world, something like that. One book is there. 2018 something. Before he became the foreign minister. And I think that idea what he wrote there is being followed here itself. It's not something totally different. Move ahead. Okay. Yeah, whose answer is this? Your. Let's see. China emergence as a technological, economical, military power is being visualized as, what is this? India's nation, so much English and no keywords. How will you become topper with this kind of writing? Economic relations to develop potential military status. Economics relation to develop. You should take heading as much from the question. This is having some other direction. Trade pacts affecting sovereignty. BRI, good. Debt trap, good. encirclement. One thing I will say, 4 lines. In whole page there is only 3 points. 3 page you write and there is 10 points. It is something less. New land law. What is this new land law? Five fingers, all this is theirs. Claiming the land. That is what is. Okay. Should give some examples. Should have. Very second heading. However, we can't prevent these effects totally. What was the question? Impact on India, right? Something like that. Where is your heading showing the impact on India? There are very big mistakes, like unacceptable mistake. Impact pucha hai and something else you have written and finished the answer. Getting the idea? If impact pucha hai, this whole dimension should come here. Either se impacts hona hai, more than one page should be impact only. These mistakes totally unacceptable. Knowledge nahi hai, humko aata nahi hai, yaad nahi hai, keyword nahi hai, ye sab okay. You can work on it by you write mains. पढ़ेगा keywords आएगा, knowledge will come, dimensions will come, points will increase. कल नहीं है ना mains. But these kind of mistakes if you are practicing and if you replicate it in mains, then it's very bad. Which one? Critical. Next answer SEO. You'll see. ठीक है? Don't take harsh or bad. Point you are getting now. We're taking too much time. We'll discuss fast. What is this? Critically aims and objectives. Critically and examine aims and objective SEO. What importance does it hold for India? So what are different parts? Aims and objectives. Critical analysis. Second, what is asked? Importance for India. One thing I am very interesting, how will you do critical analysis of aims and objectives? You haven't written, escaped. Tell me, others who have written, tell me how you are going to do critical analysis of aims and objectives of an organization. Everyone is guessing. It's not like we are not experts. Tell me what approach or how you are doing.
Based on the critical part. But with the objective, you can criticize it. These objectives are something which can be fulfilled or not, or what it is. It's the way of its working is like it's more
Decent approach is something is there. Let's see what we can do. So introduction, I don't need to explain anything. It is an organization SEO. You can simply define the organization and don't study so much. It is a Eurasian organization. If you can remember the year when it is formed, write the year. Then countries, if you can remember, write the countries. Okay, nothing more to talk in this. We'll do a little fast. We are taking too much of time. Yeah. So what I'm done is, what we are question is asking, critically examine the aims and objectives. So what हम ये करेगा, these are the aims and objectives of SEO as per SEO stated charter or every document or anything. These are the stated aims and objectives of this organization. Then we have a cross view. Are these really the objectives of this organization? And how will you use this? From different countries' perspective. Is India joined the organization with the same vision? Is China upholding this organization with the same vision? Is Russia being a part of this with the same vision? So that's how we are doing critical examination or critical examine of these aims and objectives. Okay. So in this we have very good words: strengthen relations, promote cooperation in energy, economic, all these aspects, safeguard regional peace, democratic, equitable. Okay. Yeah. So why China is part of SCO? China before this, there was having so much issues with Central Asian republics. So border issues, all these were there. So China need a mechanism to solve all this, and SCO was very good option. Before that, when USSR disintegrated, 1991. After disintegration of USSR, what happened? There was a power vacuum in Central Asia. US was something like a protectorate, USSR. Then once USSR is gone, there should be somebody. So this gap was filled by China. And the product of this development is SCO. Getting? So China's, now if you look, there is 30 years gone after that. Now if you look, China want SCO because market access to Central Asian republics. And Central Asian has so much of resources. Which resources? Crude oil, natural gas, uranium, all these things. Okay. And BRI is also part of Chinese vision. Now what is Russia's interest in part of SCO? Everyone expect it to happen that way, but still that is not credibly happening. China, Russia is still close. Russia and China. Russia-China friendship, when it is going, everyone expect that this is not a long-lasting friendship. Mutual abhi benefit hai, so they are friends. Tomorrow benefit will go and they'll split. But they are not splitting. So far the graph is going up. Let's see. Why Central Asian republics want to be part of this? They want to fight the three evils: separatism, fundamentalism, extremism, all those things. Political stability, they need support. Economic development is obviously a goal of it. Why India need it? Connectivity, so much things are going on. Security aspect, rats you can cite. So these countries are part of SCO for different vision, and stated objectives is having some against aspect with what these countries are standing for. Getting? The idea you want to pick out is not these points only. How to do the critical analysis or critical examination of aims and objectives of an organization. Tomorrow a question some other organization may come, you should have that idea. Now importance to SCO to India. It's same, we use the same thinking pattern what we done yesterday. Shared values, from values perspective, what is importance? National interest, strategy. Values very difficult to get. How you give me some, forget the question. Central Asia values you can connect with India. Tell me some examples. Values means historical aspects, something, some examples. अरे वो क्या है पूछ रहा है. Let me think if any online guys are saying. New land law. China allow its action to be legal like Galvan clash. Good. Yeah. Nothing coming. Tell me. What I was asking? Shared values with India and Central Asia. What you will say? Come on, yaar. Buddhism is there. So much is now Silk Route. It was having connection with India. Gandhara art all came from somewhere like this. All these people where they came from. Mughals, Momos, all these Genghis Khan, Sufism. So much connections you can have with samosa. Yeah, maybe. Okay. So in this question, let's move ahead. Reaching out to Central Asian, fighting three evils. These three evils are part of India's problem also. Everywhere this problem, fundamentalism is coming, there is a problem. Economic integration, you can, international north-south transit corridor. We told yesterday, na? From Moscow to Bombay it will connect. Mumbai. Ashgabat agreement. We'll see in next question. Investment opportunity for Indian private sector. Energy security, very important. Kazakhstan is world's largest or second largest? Largest or second largest uranium reserves? Sure. I think it is second. Largest is Australia. Go and check. My opinion is second. Go and check. Technology diplomacy. So what is greatest technological development that happened in Indian near past? Come on, UPI. Very important. In US, it's still card system, and UPI becoming such a big thing in India, and India can really trade this. Aadhaar framework. India is trying to sell this to other countries. Jam Trinity, all those things. So these have huge potential to sell to Central Asian countries. Tomorrow you have question on Africa. So these technologies can be very much replicated in Africa. We have India's problems are so much similar to problems in Africa. So you should write all this. Okay. And something I told yesterday, if some summit is going on, note down at least 2-3 words. SEO Young Scientists of Conclave, India virtually hosted in 2020. But health diplomacy, traditional medicine is something which India is trying to, yoga is already always there. Traditional medicine is also India trying to promote. Countering transnational terrorism, RATS architecture, you can write. Strategic balancing, what is it? So much India will go with US, then some balance should happen here. SEO is a part of that also. Now what is next part? This is not exactly part of the question, but still we are studying it. You can write any of these. Okay. I'm not spending too much time on explaining all this. We already, most of points we already discussed. SEO, what you are saying? Challenge. Thing is not strategy. What is happening in SEO? All other countries are part of BRI. Only India is not a part of BRI. And when last summit happened, SEO, which is not a part of BRI, given a something like statement on BRI, and all other countries signed, and only India didn't sign. We are not a part of BRI, we will not sign this. India stay apart. So India is facing some kind of strategic isolation or some kind of Chinese dominance India is feeling within the organization. You can write that. You got? Yeah. Bilateral, very good. You are having the idealist view. SARC में क्या हुआ? SARC is not working after years of huge potential, and institutional mechanism is made in very early 1980s and all. 30-40 years हुआ, कुछ नहीं हो रहा उधर. क्यों नहीं हो रहा? Bilateral issue, bilateral लेके उधर bilateral fight ही चलता है. India ये बोलता है, पाकिस्तान ये बोलता है. You can write. Idea perspective, nobody will counter you. But the reality is, if the organization want to work, keep the bilateral apart. Solve it within you itself. That is okay. Anything else? Conclusion. I'm not going to explain this. You can expanding the vision, health sector, business, all this you can write. We'll see your answer tomorrow. Happy? So what is this? This question most of you haven't written. Who written? You written now. Tell me different parts of this. This is something you've written. What you're thinking? Powers in Central Asia. Okay. This will be introduction. Okay. What else?
So, how it will impact India's interest in that Central Asian region?
Okay. How this will impact India's interest? Okay, next.
How India's when India joined the START agreement, so how you can counterbalance these powers and
Implications you will write. See, this question, there is difficulties, and you will see similar so many questions. Statement is given what it is. Central Asia is having outside powers, and this is also a zone of interest for India. And even if this statement is not there, this is also a valid question. Discuss the implications of India joining Ashgabat agreement. So what you have to take note of it, it's a 10 marker. This is what you get. All these arguments you are making, Central Asia, or whatever argument we are generating from this statement, it should occupy small part. Maybe nearly 50% of the first page. Okay. Main part of your answer should be discuss implications of India joining this agreement. Are you getting? This is the question. And if there is a statement here, something like explain. After the statement, there is a keyword given, explain. Then your answer can have 50% of this and 50% of the other part. In this question, one statement is given. After that, some other question is asked. And ऐसे भी नहीं है directly correlated है. You can write on the statement for 2 pages also. So even if you have 10-20 points on that statement given in the question, your marks will only come from what is asked. So it should have minimum space, as much as minimum as possible. Don't make these mistakes. These small things should have awareness. You should have the clarity when you are writing. Even reading the question for first time in exam time, you should click all these things. Otherwise, one page लिखने के बाद सोच आ रहा है means it will backfire. Getting? Go ahead. So what is the introduction? Thing is, what I am also trying to do is, start the answer from the statement. Whatever the statement is given, we are giving some supporting arguments. Which all outside countries are there, why they are coming for uranium, petroleum or strategic interest, vulnerability, what is the peculiarity of the region. The region is having authoritarian countries. All Central Asian republics are ruled by kings, no democracy, these kind of countries. So they are always vulnerable to radicalization, terrorism, all these things. Okay, some kind of contextualization is given here also. Got? Second, the region is a arena of great game being played by blah blah blah. Same introduction. This diagram you can focus upon. What it's saying? Importance of Central Asia to India. This is also not part of the real answer or major what is asked. So this is also should be shown only as a diagram. Don't make a separate heading and write 5 points. Points I am not discussing. We already have so much discussion on all this. Go ahead. Now this is an answer where you can make a diagram. If you can at least remember, which you will be finding very difficult today, because this is a current affairs question from 4 years back. So you are not remembering which countries, prelims ka bhi yaad nahi hai, it's perfectly fine. But if something is coming from today happening, you should remember the countries and you can make a rough diagram of it. Okay. Now you can write something about the agreement, what the agreement is. The agreement is transit corridor, transportation of goods between connecting 2 regions, Central Asia and West Asia. These 2 regions, in between there is a transit corridor. That is the vision of the agreement. And India joined in 2018. These are other countries part of it. This is only for knowledge I have written. It's okay not to remember all the facts in the exam hall. At least remember this you should know. The objective of the grouping or the agreement is having a connectivity between Central Asia and the Western Pacific. Here at least 2 countries, you can say Tashkent. What is this? Tashkent. Which country it is? At least remember some countries which is part of it, and here also some countries which is part of it. Okay. Now we come to the major part of the answer. Here also we are not going to discuss too much of it. Anyway, this is 4 years back current affairs question. We'll see point generation idea should be similar to what we have done so far. We'll think from value perspective, we'll think some political perspective, economic interest, and other all the strategic will go on. So yeah, political implications, democracy. India, we are very happy to spread democracy wherever. It is a proponent of largest democracy, all these things, peaceful coexistence. Some idea we taken from Panchil. That's why I'm saying Panchil, learn karo. Most of the answer में किधर किधर काम आएगा. Economic implications, trade barriers is करना है. This is a 70 million population market, Central Asian republics. So and China is having some kind of a monopoly so far. So India can very much have a say in this. Infrastructure development is very much there are other infrastructure development going on. So synchronization of both can be very much helpful for India. Strategic implications क्या है? Alternative to China, high octane diplomacy. Where we'll use this? Tomorrow there is a question on Western Asia. I want to see everyone use this high octane diplomacy. Go home, search newspaper, what is it? It's nothing rocket science, but try to use it. At least some keywords we use today, if such is applicable in tomorrow's question, use it. Energy security perspective, what India wants? Crude oil. 85% of Indian crude oil is imported. So we need crude oil, and natural gas can be sourced from Central Asia. Even Russia is there. How we are sourcing crude oil from Russia? It is coming through sea route. So Malacca Strait, all this. So we can cut that, and if this corridor is coming, it will be very easy. Pipeline, all these ideas can be the Chabahar port, all this can be connected to it. Climate mitigation, that's you can give some explanation to it. Okay, not explaining too much on it. Conclusion, this is another way of conclusion. This is something you should take note of. Prime Minister, he keep on giving some kind of formula, 3A, 5C. So 4C is something which is related to Central Asia. Add in your keyword 4C which is related to Central Asia. Connectivity, commerce, capacity enhancement, and contacts. Okay. Connect with this vision and give a conclusion to it. So today you might have seen India, China was the discussion, India, Russia, but questions were SCO, Central Asia. Some mismatch is there, not mismatch, it is. But tomorrow exactly these questions are coming. India-Japan relation, India-Israel, India's Africa policy, West Asia. I hope you will prepare something and come. Sure, I'll use all your answers in the PPT. Don't tell me that time like, मेरा answer ये नहीं है, वो नहीं है. Clear? So that's all for today. Thank you so much. Sir.